Coming up, a review of the book Lone Survivor written by Marcus Luttrell with Patrick Robinson. Namaste friends, my name is Shil Subramanian Payamal and you are listening to the Histology podcast. Before I proceed, a full disclosure. This book was bought with my own money and not been provided to me by the authors or publisher. Little bit about the authors. Petty Officer Marcus Luttrell was raised on his parents' horse ranch in Texas. He joined the United States Navy in March 1999, was awarded his Trident as a combat-trained Navy SEAL in January 2002, and joined SEAL Team 5 in Baghdad in April 2003. In the spring of 2005, he was deployed to Afghanistan. He was awarded the Navy Cross for combat heroism in 2003 by President Bush. Patrick Robinson is known for his best-selling US Navy-based novels, most notably Nimitz Class, Kilo Class, and Sea Wolf. His autobiography of Admiral Sir Sandy Woodward, 100 Days, was an international bestseller. He lives in England but spends his summers on Cape Cod, Massachusetts, where he and Marcus Luttrell wrote Lone Survivor. Let me read what is written on the back cover. In June 2005, 4 US Navy SEALs left their base in Afghanistan for the Pakistani border. Their mission was to capture or kill a notorious al-Qaeda leader known to be ensconced in a Taliban stronghold surrounded by a small but heavily armed force. Less than 24 hours later, only one of those Navy SEALs was alive. This is the story of team leader Marcus Luttrell and the 4 desperate days he spent fighting the al-Qaeda assassins sent to finish him off. It is also the story of the men who ferociously beside him until he was the last one left. It is one of the most powerful narratives ever written about modern warfare. Unquote. Starting with the book review, the first thing one learns while reading this book was that SEALs stand for sea, air and land. One thing that seems to be common among war books is that when one of the survivors visits the families of his co-fighters, they want to know whether the death was instant and that there wasn't a lot of suffering. The author writes about the philosophy of the US Navy SEALs and how he has tried to base his life on it. He talks about his time fighting the so-called the proud freedom fighters of Iraq, and they would be willing to do anything for $50. And this is what led to the elimination of Saddam's sons and the capture of Saddam himself. Also talking about the encounters with half-trained terrorists all over the world who mostly use Russian-made Kalashnikovs. When talking about the undiscovered weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, Marcus quotes former Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld, who once remarked, "What do you want to do? Leave him there till he does?" Like any soldier from an army in the civilized world, Marcus talks about the frustration of fighting in war zones where they have to follow the rules of engagement, which clearly are not to be followed by the terrorists, but only by soldiers. He clearly finds them ever intrusive, which was constantly at the back of their minds when being in that aircraft en route to Afghanistan. And how if he ever came face to face with Osama bin Laden, he would shoot him dead in cold blood and not bother about outrage in the American media and getting put in jail and be charged with murder. He describes the Taliban in the following manner. Quote, "Those guys are evil, murderous religious fanatics, each one of them with an AK-47 and a bloodlust." Unquote. He mentions the Pashtun proverb, "I against my brothers and I against my cousins, my brothers, my cousins and I against the world." This is what has allowed them to knock out sophisticated invaders. About 85 pages of the book are devoted for showing how tough the training is to become a Navy SEAL, which talks in detail about the state of mind of the people who quit midway, officially known as dropped on request, the SEAL swim method, 5-point screening test, buds, 4 critical rules of safety, and last but not the least, Hell Week. Then comes the part where they are on Operation Red Wing and the confrontation with the Afghan goatherds and the dilemma of whether to shoot them or spare them, while the constant fear of the liberal media back in US playing in their minds, and how they suddenly realize the big mistake of sparing the goatherds and things go horribly wrong from then onwards when they intimate the Taliban warriors who show up to finish off the team of Navy SEALs using weapons stolen from the Russians and Americans. What followed was the worst special ops catastrophe ever, with almost 20 special forces dead. The author talks about Loke Varkawal, an unending section of historic Pashtunwala tribal law. The literal translation of Loke Warkawal is giving of a pot. Blasted unconscious by a rocket grenade blown over the cliff. Blasted unconscious of a rocket grenade blown over a cliff, but still armed and still breathing. Luttrell endured 4 desperate days fighting the al-Qaeda assassins sent to kill him, before finding unlikely sanctuary with a Pashtun tribe who risked everything to protect him from the circling Taliban killers, which was due to 2000 years of Pashtunwala tradition. You will defend your guest to the death. Conclusion. There is no denying that had the Pashtun tribe given Marcus to the Taliban, we would have probably never known about this disaster mission. No matter how well trained a modern army is, if it goes to a place it isn't familiar with, it is always going to find things tough. This mission was raised to the power of 10 compared to what the SEALs went through in Hell Week. The American army has learned this the hard way in Vietnam and now in Afghanistan. The Afghans have defeated the British, the Russians, and now the Americans, who had to make a shameful retreat from Afghanistan in 2021. Hope lessons will be learned from this. I give this book 4.75 out of 5. The printed price of this book is around 550 rupees on Amazon India at the time of recording this podcast. I will provide the respective buy links and other related stuff in the show notes. Last but not the least, thank you for spending your valuable time listening to this book review. Really grateful. Please don't forget to subscribe to the Histology podcast on your favorite podcasting app, and also feel free to leave a review. Also, please check histology.com for all previous episodes. Thanks and looking forward to hearing from you. Take care and goodbye.